purpose of this video is to show you how to use the protractor feature on your assessments. So in today's assessment, you're going to see some angles that are to scale, meaning they are accurate in size as what you see. We're going to measure and classify the given angles. Over on the right, you have your toolbar. I want to use the protractor. To use the protractor, remember we take the center of the protractor and we line it up with the vertex of the angle. So I put it right there at the vertex E. Then we want to rotate so that one of the rays points to either the outside zero or the inside zero. So remember, you have two zeros. You have one inside and you have one outside. Okay? Once you have it lined up, you can go out and look and see it falls between 110 and 120 for the inside set of numbers, and it falls between the 60 and the 70 for the outside set of numbers. So we need to decide which one are we looking at. Are we looking at the inside numbers or the outside numbers? So at that point, I look at the ray that's pointing to the zero, and I see it's on the inside arc of numbers. So I'm looking at the inside arcs. So when I go around and I look at the inside numbers, I can see it falls between the inside 110 and 120, and it falls right in between them. So I'm going to say that's a measure of 115 degrees, which is obtuse. Okay, if I had moved my protractor to the other side to line up to the zero that's on the outside, when I go around using the numbers on the outer edge of the protractor, I land here between 110 and 120 on the outside numbers, right in the middle at 115 degrees. Okay? When I look at the next one, again, I'm going to put the center of the protractor right on that vertex, and then I'm going to rotate that protractor around so that one of the rays points to the zero. The zero it's pointing to is on the outside. So I'm going to come around and I'm going to see it lands just above the 40, between the 40 and the 50, so it's probably a little bit bigger than 40. I'm going to say that looks like it's probably about 42 degrees, which is acute. Okay, you'll know immediately if you look at the other numbers and you say, oh, I think that's about, it's a little bit to the right of the 140, between the 130 and 140, and you go, I think it's 138. It shouldn't make sense to you that if you put 138 here, and then you say, well, that's a little angle, so it's acute, right? That shouldn't make sense that 138 degrees is acute, but since this is to scale, I know that I can trust my eyes that when that looks like it's acute, it really is acute, since my angles are to scale. So I know the 138 can't have been the right choice. It has to be the 42 degrees. Okay, let's try this one more time. When I look here, I put the center of my protractor right on the M, and then I use this yellow arrow to rotate to where I point to zero. Now notice if I point this one to zero, I've got the back side of the angle. So I'd be trying to measure the reflex angle. I'd have to measure 180 plus this little bit over here. So make sure you actually have it on the inside, right? So now I've got N pointing to the zero that's on the inside row of numbers. So for the inside, when I come around over here and I look, it's going to be somewhere between the 140 and the 130 again. So this one, it looks like this one is probably the one that would match with this one, right? It's almost to the same exact spot. I'd say this one is the 138 degrees as opposed to the 42 degrees. And again, we can see when we look at it, it's open wide. It is obtuse. Okay? You won't have to when you do yours. It's not going to be necessarily free response like this. You'll have some drop and drag. So you don't have to worry. There won't be any that are that close that you're going to say, is it 138 degrees or 137 degrees? Your options will be pretty clear on yours. Okay? So again, to get the protractor, it's just in your toolbars over here. You grab your protractor, you take the center of the protractor, and you put that on the vertex, and then you use the arrow to rotate your protractor around to where you need it to be, where one of the rays lines up to 0, either there or there. Okay, either one. Okay, hopefully that helps you using that tool of the protractor.